this space to me is quite new because I don't know if it's kind of just my bubble or people that I follow, but from your experience, do you feel like that there are more people in such a niche on LinkedIn, or if it's
Hmm.
still new to LinkedIn, or what is basically your competition like on LinkedIn?
Yeah, well, that's a good question too. I would say, I mean, to be honest with you, from my point of view, I don't really have competition. Being a very spiritual and intuitive person, to me, I feel like competition is an old paradigm word because folks like myself, I mean, on the esoteric sort of language, some might consider me a master healer. So, what that means is I'm bringing forward more heart based concepts and language and philosophies to the forefront of business
Mhm.
and helping sort of heal the push culture, the fear culture, the lack and limitation sort of culture. And so, competition doesn't really exist in my point of view because every individual has their own purpose. And if I can complement other individuals' purpose, then it's just a win win overall. And so, but to your question though, I would say there have been pockets of more of the spiritual, intuitive community on LinkedIn, but I am noticing, I don't know if it's because of the algorithm or what, that more and more individuals are enjoying sort of a colleague of mine calls it more of the soulful nature of the spiritual community, especially with AI. Like the
Mhm.
human nature is really kind of coming forward, and
Yeah.
so part of that is how you portray yourself, the vibe that you give off, the energy that you give off, and it becomes tangible and it builds trust with other
Hmm.
individuals. So I think to your point, one, I think the intuitive community is building on LinkedIn. And then two, in terms of my competitors, I fit in a very unique niche because I'm not completely logical. I'm also part of the law enforcement community. I'm also part of the US intelligence community. And I'm also part of the intuitive community. So, to my knowledge, I don't really have any competition. It just depends on, do you like the work that I do and do you like sort of, you could say, my brand?
Mhm. I think it's actually a perfect approach because it's like your USP. Of course, there are people who may be offering similar services, but not
Hmm.
such a focus or target audience like yours, which then makes it easier for people, kind of you come to mind because you are the one who's actually for that specific one area. And I think it's kind of perfect.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. I've actually collaborated with a couple other career coaches who, like one in particular I could think of, she focuses on helping people with their resume and
Mhm.
interview prep. And I'm like, no, I don't do that. Let me refer you to her.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, and it's smart because then if she comes across someone who needs actually your services, then she can be like, okay, I know Adam, his focus is on this and he's the perfect person.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. Yeah.
And I think also because as we've been on LinkedIn for some time, you can see more people joining and more people offering like a similar services. For example, if you look at personal branding and competition is growing, so it's harder to stand out. So
Mm.
I know that might be easy to say, but I think one of the biggest ways how to stand out on LinkedIn, build your brand or following is actually to be unique. I know easy to say but harder to do, but I think perfect example, you found perfect niche for yourself, unique to you, and build from there. So I think that's actually something that audience can learn from.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I am kind of curious too. I did a little bit of homework on your background. How, I mean, just on that moment on this topic, if I might ask, how do you find yourself sort of differentiated from the other LinkedIn sort of experts?
Mm-hmm. It's a good question. And I feel like that I've also spoken to many. So that is also actually something that I'm often kind of thinking about as well, because there are many people with even way larger following than me. But I would say, I hope it's not going to sound, I don't know, somehow egoistic or something. But I feel like that thanks to my podcast and speaking with all these types of people, it gives me like access to them and their knowledge that I've received. And it's not only from me reading their content, reading their posts, but actually speaking to them, which I believe that gives me some kind of insight that other people don't have, because I think I've done quite a few episodes by now. We've spoken with all kinds of people across different demographics, niches, pretty much from everywhere. So I believe and I hope that it's some kind of competitive advantage that I have, and that it's not something that can give me like ChatGPT or Claude, but it's actually I've spoken to those people, so I actually know it. So I hope that it's something that helps me.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I get
But it
that.
was a really nice question. Thank you for that.
Yeah, sure. Oh, I was just like, I was looking at your background too, and I was like, oh, wow. I was kind of curious how you're positioning yourself too. So,
And before, also, when we spoke about what you do, you mentioned AI. And I was going to say that we all use AI, and of course, AI is progressing. It's completely normal to use it, but at the same time, as it's progressing, I feel like that sometimes it might be taking away that personality, because when you see content on LinkedIn, sometimes it's like copy and paste or very similar to others. And I believe that, as you well said before, that if you come across as you, as the real person, as just being personal, in the end it's going to stand out as well, because when everyone becomes similar, all the contents become similar or even the same, it's actually going to be you and yourself that's going to stand out. So that was a great point that you shared before as well.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, when I'm working on my copy, which is a whole new area I had to learn, just because, the form of writing that I was used to was intelligence assessments and writing, and copywriting for gaining interest of the reader was not really something I'm comfortable with. But I do try to insert something that's unique for me, like an emoji or a funny little humor into it.